That I want to know the answer to. If someone has been covering up and it's just somebody just going out to join their mouth and just on something to try to try to cause some type of disruption within the administration of the County Sheriff's Office, it ain't going to happen. We're here to do a job. I don't work for the deputies in the County Sheriff's Office. I work for the people of Nye County. My responsibility is to them. My job is making sure that I administrate this office on behalf of citizens in Nye County. But I'm not going to tolerate people all of a sudden exaggerating what's going on, saying this was the world's worst kept secret, because apparently I didn't know about it. And if Captain Beck, and there's only 2 complaints that have been alleged. One was, I was directed that first one to Sergeant Travis Huggins, looking as a criminal side to bring information to the local law enforcement, and if there was any violation of policy, to do internal affairs. No, when they came back and they said, we can't find nothing, there's nothing to this, what are you going to do?
You said that the second officer said that Sergeant Michael Horn wanted to count the pills and that he complained because he wanted to count the prescriptions. Wasn't he volunteering to do that later with Ben?
First of all, there's no pill count, and this is what gets me. This is why we're going to look into it. When we get the drugs in pounds, we don't get them in little container bottles and so on and so forth. What we do is when we get this medication, is we put it in evidence, and that's where it should have been. And every time if I saw a bag that was inside Ben's office, I go to Ben, he said, I just took it out because we're getting ready to process to destroy the drugs. So the only time I saw any kind of drugs outside of evidence in reference to this, and reference this program that we have, this prescription program, was they were destroying the drugs in order to put it into the neutralize the drugs and to put it into the landfill. That was it. But we don't get it in little bottles where it's like 50 pounds with 50 pills. Sometimes we're getting like pounds, 50 pounds, 25 pounds, 10 pounds, and this is the weight we're getting, and we're weighing it now because we just can't count it. It's just a lot. We put it out these tables, and you've been a few times. We go out to get these pills. It's enough to fill the tables. It was never brought to my attention that there was something going on with some type of Sergeant Horn was doing anything inappropriate. Nothing. Apparently, Captain Beck apparently has some type of epiphany when he talks to the newspaper and says, well, I was aware that this deputy brought this to my attention. Well, Captain Beck never brought it to my attention because like I said, if it was brought to my attention, it would not have gone to the narcotics squad. It doesn't belong there. I sent Travis Huggins. I didn't send internal affairs to Clark County because I was looking at criminality on behalf of what was conducted by a deputy of the Nye County Sheriff's Office. In that criminality investigation, if it turned out that because it would have been a violation of policy, that came back as a violation, then we can conduct an internal affairs investigation. Once there was nothing there, and Sergeant Horn answered the questions. He wasn't saying, I'm not going to answer any questions. The person who allegedly, this other individual who apparently was sick, talked to them. Sergeant Horn talked to them. In fact, in the article, it talks about how we missed the opportunity to give Sergeant Horn help. If the union was aware, if the union was aware there was an issue with Sergeant Horn, they could have went and got him help. For them to think that somewhere along the line that the staff disregards the well-being and the treatment of their officers or their deputies or the members of the Nye County Sheriff's is incorrect. I started an employee assistance program in the second largest city in New Jersey. I was the director of the city's employee assistance program. I was certified nationally as a certified public employee assistance professional. You don't think that me caring for the small amount of people here, kind of like my family, I wouldn't have gotten treatment for somebody if I thought they needed it? Never came to our attention that this was one of the things that we should be watching out for a member of the Nye County Sheriff's Office.
You said that you're going to do an investigation to find out who the people are, who the
No, we're going to do an investigation
were.
because this is what it is. This is what happened. What was said in the newspaper, basically it requires us to do an investigation because this is the problem that you have. This is the problem with who this member is. It's kind of funny because I'm sure if they're being investigated, they wouldn't want their information out there. I know they wouldn't. But you have people with the Nye County Sheriff believing that their internal affairs investigation is going to be held within the restrictions of the law. When you have somebody with the Knight County Sheriff's Office going off and going on a yapping thing and going like, ooh, let's go to, let me tell you, and going to gossip thing, and start bleeding out information going to the sheriff's office, including internal affairs investigation, which by what the person did can jeopardize the investigation, can also be used as mitigating procedures on behalf of of the accused, if there's, it could. I mean, we have to see where this investigation is going. It's still in its infancy. But what's happening is that there's another added dimension to the investigation based upon what was in the front page of the Times.
Well, it seems that their description of one of the people that was their sources
Was a detective.
Bengali as well. And so what's going to happen with the volunteer Bengali, and what's the...
Nothing, because this is what we don't get. I talked to Ben. He said, I didn't talk to the newspaper about it. And, we have no information that that's what they said, a volunteer. For the volunteer to say we were doing a pill count, well, that was incorrect, because we get so much, we can't even count them. The deputies would do a pill count for the pills they get from the coroner's cases. They're required to do a pill count. When we get the pills in mass volumes, we're getting them in the drop box in mass volumes. Those pills, we take them and bag them and put them in evidence. Those pills are just destroyed because it's just so much. We can't sit there and count it. You're talking about thousands of pills. When a deputy does a coroner case and there's medication there, those pills are counted. They're put in evidence, because that's a requirement. Because in the coroner's report, pill counts and medication that the person has been prescribed is part of the coroner's report, and we have to look that over, and we count the pills, and then of course they get given to evidence, and those pills are destroyed. Those pills are destroyed, like we destroy everything else. The prescription program is going to still continue. We've talked to everybody. Said, no, understand is that this is a very successful program, the only one in the country, and for someone to do this and jeopardizing, a program, I can't imagine why they would want to do that. I mean, because if we don't take the pills, where they're going to go? Either they're going to go down the sewer, in the septic system, and poison our water supply, which is idiotic in itself for anybody believing that's a good response for that. From a number of Knight County Sheriff's Office, the public may not be aware of that. Or for them to be thrown in a garbage can where they become, a street side, drug facility or drug dispensary. And we're going to continue the program. But like I said, I talked to people, and specifically, and seeing what is in the newspaper. I mean, like I said, is that the 2007, we looked in that. I'm the one who sent them down there. And I sent them down, I didn't send internal affairs, I sent them down there to do a criminal investigation, to see if criminality was involved. Because that's another jurisdiction. If there's any criminality that was involved, that would be up to that jurisdiction there, that law enforcement jurisdiction, to take that investigation. What we were doing was looking at that in order to give information to that local jurisdiction. We couldn't find any. And we couldn't find anything meant that we just couldn't also do an investigation, internal affairs investigation, because there was nothing there. I mean, I looked at it and go, if there was a possibility of doing an internal affairs investigation, I would do an internal affairs investigation. What is being represented is, for some reason, and I don't know the reason behind it, is that for some reason Sergeant Mike Horn or anybody in the Knight County Sheriff's is going to get some kind of special consideration. Ain't true. If you do something wrong, then you're going to face the consequences. I believe that through my track record here is that when an officer, a deputy, Knight County Sheriff's has done something wrong, we've taken appropriate action. No one is going to get a pass. If we can't do the investigation, then we send it within the policy to another appropriate investigating agency. We have police officer bill of rights that we have to follow. We have policies that are reflective of those police officer bill of rights that we have to follow. There's case law involving police officers, investigations, and so on and so forth. These things are held, they're held in high. They're held I would say not in, like, it's sacrilege because there's so many things that can go wrong. I would hate to think that for some reason, like in a criminal case, we have a very good charge against somebody on the criminal side of it, and all of a sudden they get a free pass because there was some kind of, procedural problem that wasn't taken care of. And the same thing could happen within a law enforcement investigation as well. And so we have to make sure is that, if there is culpability, that it can stand for the pre-disciplinary, and if this pre-disciplinary is being objected to, it can stand in front of the mediator and arbitration, so on and so forth. There's a last step to go through. And there's also the EMRB that we have to also making sure that we follow labor practice and labor laws, because this is multidimensional. The criminal justice system is easier to deal with in many cases than the internal affairs investigation with law enforcement officers. But there's been but they have a process to go through like everything else.
You said that in 2007 when you were made aware of that. Wouldn't that bring you guys on high alert then maybe to?
No, because it is what happens. Is if you bring, that's what I'm saying is that, believe me, I hear so many rumors about you people out in the street. You want deputy knocking on your door and saying like this, okay? This is the issue. It was brought to attention something happened at a party, okay? I want to find out what exactly happened at the party. And I will tell you this. Sergeant Travis Huggins didn't share with me the information that was being alleged by this Boulder City officer. And I would tell you this. I would promise you this. If I heard that this occurred with this Boulder City police officer, I would have been on the phone with Chief Tom Finn and saying, you have to look into this, because apparently there was a person, and this is if this was true, but this is how it would have went, because it's somebody saying this and this never came to my attention, that a police officer knew about someone that had drugs, hypodermic needles, and so forth, had committed a felony in your jurisdiction, and your officer was a witness to that. Are you aware of this? Just so you know, so no one gets one of those phone calls. No one was more surprised than I. Okay. Tom Finn did not get that phone call because this was not brought to my attention. The information I have is this officer wasn't even there, and if he was there, then at least on the civil side he committed nonfeasance, misfeasance of office. But there's also criminality that's involved, which could have been a gross misdemeanor depending upon what the investigation showed, if he was there and took no action. I mean, this is a felony that occurred. You don't get to say, oh, it's a pass. He didn't do anything. Notified his agency, notified a law enforcement agency. They didn't notify an ambulance to come and render some kind of aid if this occurred, if this was happening. But from my understanding, it didn't happen. Didn't happen. What this person was saying did not happen.
Is the Knight County Sheriff's Office contemplating a lawsuit or anything against the PBT?
No. I mean, it's, and let me tell you something. Matt Ward did try to reach out to me. The problem was this, is that in where I'm at, two things. I get no bars.
Oh, no reception.
Right, and the other problem is that we're finding out is that we had an investigation going on Sunday. My deputy was trying to contact me. I didn't get his phone call yet either. I came to my attention. When I plugged my phone in and connected to the computer, all of a sudden it was updated, and I'm finding out that apparently if you don't update your phone, the server it's a Apple server. And my wife has a new phone a week and a half now. She went from an Apple to an Android. I'm not going to mention names. She still can't get her text messages. If you're on if you have an Apple phone, all those people that have Apple phones, they're getting her text is on her Apple phone, and anybody else has an Android phone, those texts are going to Android phone. It's just one of those things with Apple and, the server issue. But no, he tried. In fact, Friday, before I even read the article, because I didn't read the article until late Friday, I tried calling back twice. I left 2 messages when call me back. I get a phone call from somebody say, hey, did you read the PVT? I went, no, I didn't read it yet. I probably read it on weekends, But I said, no, well, maybe you should look at the article. I did not call Matt Ward after that. I mean, I figured that the best way to handle that is to have a news conference, so I can answer the questions. Because Because of people believing that there's some reason that we're trying to hide from this.